Hello friends, my name is Shayla and today I am here to talk about some unpopular opinions that I have according to Goodreads. So recently I saw Murphy over on her channel do this video, but as far as I know, Kayla from over at Books and Lala was the first to do it, and I saw her do it a while back, and so I'd kind of been doing the research for it, and then I kind of just got distracted with other videos. And I've now come back to it. I've got my list complete. I'm not so fancy. I haven't learned how to record as I scroll through my phone and things. I'm gonna have my husband teach me eventually, so you'll have to forgive me for my lack of impressive tech in this particular video. And my cat is attacking my tripod again. But I think he's finally done, thankfully. So let's just get right into it. So I have 4 books that I love and people on Goodreads don't like as much as I do. And then I have 4 books that people on Goodreads love, but I don't really like. So let's just go ahead and dig right into these. So let's start with the ones that I don't like that everybody else does, and we'll end on the ones that I like that most people don't. So for the first one that came up on my list of books that I don't like that everybody else does, and that is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. The average Goodreads star rating for this one is 4.25 stars. I gave it a 1 star. It was actually a DNF for me. I did not enjoy John Green's writing at all. I could not get into the story. I don't really like sick lit though, and I know that, and I knew that going in that that's what it was. And maybe that's why I wasn't able to get into it at all, but I really just couldn't. I didn't like the language that everybody was using to speak. I just did not like the writing in general. I don't think John Green's a bad person, I just don't jive with his books, and that's just fine with me. Next up is another super popular one here on BookTube, and that is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. I tried to read this 3 different times. The average star rating for this is a 4.36. I know this is a very well-loved book outside and inside of BookTube, but it is not one that I enjoy. I feel it is very much too depressing for me to read. I do have clinical depression, so that might be why it doesn't jive with me very well, but all I know is that I can't. I tried multiple times and I just can't with this book. I know everybody's sobbing the last 100 pages, but I can't even get to page 100, let alone anymore, just because I'm so depressed after reading the first 60 to 75 pages that I just can't deal. I can't do it. I tried. I'm sorry. Maybe when I'm older, I'll try again, but as of right now, I've tried 3 times. 3 strikes, you're out. That's kind of where I'm at. Next up is another BookTube darling, and that is To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han. The average Goodreads rating for this one is a 4.11 stars, and I DNF'd this book. I talked about it in my Contemporary-a-thon wrap-up, but I couldn't handle Laura Jean. She was so whiny. I just couldn't. I really just couldn't. I did try, and I think I'm just past the point in my life where most of that is going to be appealing for me. I don't know. I still read plenty of YA, so maybe it's just YA contemporaries aren't really jiving with me if they have a whiny female protagonist. And that might also be that as a teenager, I was a little more rough and tumble than super girly, so that might be a big part of it as well. And the last one that I don't necessarily like very much, but everybody on Goodreads seems to enjoy it pretty well, and that is The Witch Doesn't Burn in this one by Amanda Lovelace. And the average star rating as of the filming of this video is 4.02 stars, and I gave it a 2 stars. I gave this 2 stars because as a whole, I didn't love it. There were select poems that I really did enjoy out of the collection, but the collection as a whole I did not enjoy at all. I felt it was too politically charged, I guess. And I think I'm just at a point where I'm just trying to avoid all the crap going on in politics right now. I do my own research. I don't let anybody tell me how to feel that way, and maybe that's why I ended up not enjoying this collection as much. I don't know. I loved her first collection, but this collection just didn't jive with me as a whole. Like I say, there are a few poems throughout that I really did enjoy, and I just can't get behind the whole thing. So anyways, let's jump into the 4 books that I like better than most people on Goodreads. So let's go ahead and get started right here. The first one I've got is The Readers of Broken Wheel Recommend by Katrina Bivald, and the average star rating is 3.55 stars. So basically anything less than a 3.75 stars, I considered people didn't really like as much as I do, because these are 5-star books for me, all of them. So that's how we're basing this. This book is a book about books. This is also a book about immigration and all sorts of other beautiful, wonderful things. And I think it's because I worked for an immigration lawyer for almost a year that this book appealed to me. I really enjoyed the journey that our character went on. She's a Swedish woman who comes to the U.S. to visit her friend as she is on her travels from Sweden to this small town in Ohio, I believe. Iowa, sorry. Ohio, Iowa, they're near each other. So, Iowa, her friend, who happens to be this elderly woman, has passed away. And so, you know, she's set up to spend a certain amount of time there, so they let her stay in her friend's home, and she ends up opening a bookshop and meeting people and growing and loving the area that she's in, and ends up to stay in the U.S. And I really thought this was beautifully done. And having worked directly with people in that vein of life, I have a sister-in-law who's immigrated here from Brazil with my brother and their kids, and I think I just was able to understand this on all of its levels, and that's what made it so enjoyable for me. So I gave this 5 stars. The average Goodreads rating is a 3.55. So people don't hate it, but I definitely recommend checking it out. And it is adult, it's not YA. I know Storied Life of A.J. Vickery is more of a YA style book, even though I think it's technically adult. More YA people end up picking it up. This one is a little more adult, a little slower paced, a little slower moving, and that might be people's issue, but I like those slow burn kind of books. Next up is one that surprised me because it was getting a lot of momentum when it first released, and that is The Star-Touched Queen by Roshani Chokshi. As of the filming of this video, the star rating on Goodreads is 3.57 stars. This is a Indian-based Hades and Persephone kind of retelling. I loved this book when I read it. I've been wanting to revisit it, actually. I never did get around to Crown of Wishes because I know it's just a companion. It's not a direct sequel. But I really enjoyed The Star-Touched Queen. I want to come back and revisit it again because I really enjoyed our characters. I really enjoyed the atmosphere and the world and the story. I loved so much about this. Like, I'm really surprised the Goodreads ratings are as low as they are. So, anyways, I love this one. If you have not picked up The Star-Touched Queen, I highly recommend that you do. Next up is one that I can understand why people wouldn't like it, and that is Austenland by Shannon Hale. The average Goodreads rating for this one is 3.54 stars. Now, I love and adore this story. It is a cute, sweet, fluffy, clean contemporary about a girl who is obsessed with all things Austen, ends up inheriting a bunch of money from a dead aunt, and ends up using that money to go on this Austen-based experience. She meets a guy. You can fill in the blanks from there. This is not a unpredictable story, but the way it is told is fun and sweet, and I love the movie, and like, they've made a movie out of this. It's not that bad of a book, in my opinion. I love this. This is a 5-star read for me every time. I reread this one about once a year, honestly. I really just enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, and it's like 200 pages. It's not long at all. So it's a quick, light, fluffy, contemporary. Go read it, guys. It's really fun. But I can understand that some people might not jive with the humor, maybe, because it's all clean, and that might not appeal to some people. So for me and my demographic and the people that I'm around, we all love it. Alrighty, the last book on this list is Roseblood by A.G. Howard. My physical copy is currently out on loan to a friend, and again, this is one that I can understand why people wouldn't like it. The average Goodreads rating for this one is a 3.37 stars, and again, I gave this book 5 stars. The Roseblood is based more on the original Phantom of the Opera story than on the musical. So if you went in thinking it was going to be based on the Phantom of the Opera musical, you were sorely disappointed, because the source material, the actual Phantom of the Opera written in French, is dark and twisted and scary and like not a great story for most people. I love and adore it. I read it in its original French, and that might skew how I feel about Roseblood because I read it in its original French. I think reading the source material in its original language a lot of times will lead to a better understanding of the story. My senior year of high school, I was taking French, and this was one of our projects, is we read the Phantom of the Opera in the original French, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Roseblood as well because I felt like it stuck more to the original source material as opposed to the musical. As much as I love the musical, don't get me wrong on that, I do love and adore the musical. The stories are different. So if you went in expecting one and getting the other, I can understand why people wouldn't like that so much. So anyways, guys, those are 8 unpopular opinions that I have according to Goodreads. Let me know in the comments down below an unpopular opinion according to Goodreads that you have. Please like and subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you guys in the next video.